Hey, so the EOS R5 is gonna put Sony out of business. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe. You're probably not. You might as well at this point, and like the video for the YouTube algorithm. So Canon just released some new specs regarding the R5 and confirmed a whole bunch of stuff. And at this point, it's pretty much confirmed that this is gonna be the best camera of 2020. And it's probably gonna be one of those revolutionary cameras to come out. So what do we now know about the R5 directly from Canon? Well, the big thing that everybody's talking about is how it has 8K internal RAW recording, which is pretty crazy. It's a step up from the 1DX Mark III that just came out that has 5.9K RAW internal, but for it to have 8K RAW internal is pretty crazy. Not only is it 8K RAW, but it's full frame 422 10-bit. You also have normal 8K up to 30 frames per second, but what I'm most excited about is the 4K coming out of this camera, because you have 4K up to 120 frames per second, 422 10-bit with full dual pixel autofocus and image stabilization. All of that put together, it is insane. Canon did improve their dual pixel autofocus. It can now better detect animals along with people, so you're getting that upgraded dual pixel autofocus in all modes. And then there's IBIS, so the EOS R5 has what Canon says is their first camera to incorporate 5-axis in-body image stabilization, and their stabilization can also work with the stabilization in the RF lenses, so you're getting even more stabilization. So those are probably the two biggest things to come out of what Canon just released. So you're getting full frame 8K internal RAW recording, full frame 4K 120 frames per second, 422 10-bit with autofocus and in-body image stabilization. But there's some other stuff going on here that is probably good to note. So the R5 does have dual card slots. So one of them is gonna be a CF Express, and then the other is gonna be a UHS 2 card slot, which makes sense. The 1DX Mark III used CF Express cards. I would imagine that you kind of have to if you're trying to do 8K RAW internal. And then of course, with the R5, they are still giving you the flip out screen. Along with it being a touch screen, you're getting Canon log, HDR PQ, which is gonna let you control your luminance levels, and it's a little bit more in-depth for like professionals. So what can we assume are going to be the drawbacks of this camera? Because so far it's looking to be the perfect camera. So we might have to look out for rolling shutter, maybe even battery life. I can imagine this camera processing so much, processing that 8K RAW, that the batteries might just not last that long. There's the possibility of overheating, and maybe a record limit to control that overheating. And then probably the biggest factor is the price. The EOS R comes in at about $1,800. So a good competitive price for the R5 would be $3,500 to $4,000. I would hope that Canon doesn't try to push that limit to where the 1DX is at about $5,000, $6,000. If this camera is able to come out with these specs at about $4,000, nobody is going to be using a different camera system. Everybody is going to switch, and that is exactly why I said that this is the downfall of Sony. The R5 will destroy Sony cameras. Sony has been leading the game, it seems like, with mirrorless cameras, and they have become synonymous with being like the go-to mirrorless camera for video. But the R5 can definitely change that, and will change that. If Sony's next camera does not perform anywhere near what the R5 is capable of doing, there's no way that Sony's gonna be able to recover. And it looks like it's heading that way. But this has been a super quick video just talking about the new confirmed specs for the R5. So be sure to subscribe and like the video, and that is all that I have for you. All right?